She was called the Love Goddess, a woman whose very presence could silence a theatre, whose smile once adorned the walls of soldiers fighting far from home, whose image in a black satin gown made history in Gilda. For a time, Rita Hayworth was not just a star of Hollywood's golden era. She was its heartbeat, its fantasy, its most luminous face. Men adored her, women envied her, and studios celebrated her as the perfect symbol of glamour. But what happens when the world only sees your beauty and not your soul? Behind those violet eyes was a woman who longed to be recognized not only as a pin-up dream, but as an actress, a daughter, a lover searching for something real. Fame brought diamonds, applause and power, but also broken marriages, relentless scandals, and a loneliness no camera ever captured. In her final years, she was not remembered for Gilda, nor for her triumphs, but for a cruel disease that erased her memories and left her forgotten by the same world that once crowned her queen. What turned Hollywood's brightest goddess into a fading shadow? This is the untold story of Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth was not born into the glitter of Hollywood, but into the rhythms of dance. She entered the world in 1918 as Margarita Carmen Cancino, the daughter of Spanish dancer Eduardo Cancino and his Irish-American wife, Volga. From the beginning, the stage was in her blood. As a child, she performed with her father in nightclubs and theatres, learning discipline under hot lights and restless crowds. Yet those early performances were less about dreams and more about survival. The family needed every dollar. When Hollywood first noticed her, the industry didn't see the shy girl with dark hair. It saw only potential to mold. Executives at Columbia Pictures pushed her to erase her heritage. She dyed her hair red, raised her hairline and shed her Spanish name. Margarita Cancino disappeared. Rita Hayworth was born. The transformation was painful, but it opened the doors of stardom. In her first films, Rita glowed on screen, even in small roles. The camera loved her. Soon, whispers began. Here was a beauty unlike any other, a woman destined to change Hollywood's definition of desire. No one could have imagined that this quiet dancer's daughter would soon become a global icon. By the mid-1940s, Rita Hayworth had become Hollywood's ultimate fantasy. Her breakthrough came in 1946 with Gilda, where she stepped onto the screen in that unforgettable black satin gown, flipping her hair back with a smouldering glance that would be replayed for decades. In that single scene, she transformed from promising actress to international icon, the love goddess of a generation. Audiences were captivated. Soldiers returning from war carried her pin-up photographs, her image painted on planes, her name whispered like a secret wish. Studios rushed to feature her in grand productions. CoverGirl, The Lady from Shanghai, Pal Joey. She wasn't just acting, she was defining an era. Critics called her a symbol of allure, while fans saw her as both dream and escape in uncertain times. Yet beneath the applause, Rita struggled with the weight of her own legend. Directors wanted the seductress, not the actress with depth. Hollywood boxed her into roles that sold tickets but silenced her artistic voice. She was adored, yes, but also trapped in a persona she never fully chose. And as the lights grew brighter, another story began, one not of fame, but of love, scandal, and heartbreak. Rita Hayworth's beauty drew the world to her, but her heart often led her into storms. She married 5 times, each union more scrutinized than the last. Her first great love was the brilliant director Orson Welles. Together they seemed unstoppable, she Hollywood's goddess, he the genius behind Citizen Kane. Yet their passion was as volatile as it was intense. When the marriage ended, Rita was devastated, left to raise their daughter alone while the press dissected every detail. Then came Prince Ali Khan, heir to one of the world's wealthiest families. Their romance was a fairy tale splashed across international headlines, a Hollywood star turned real-life princess. But behind palace walls, cultural clashes and infidelity shattered the illusion. The divorce left Rita more disillusioned than ever. Other marriages followed, each promising stability but delivering disappointment. The tabloids labelled her the love goddess with no luck in love. Diamonds sparkled on her fingers, but they could not protect her from loneliness. The world saw glamour and scandal. Rita lived the heartbreak in silence. And from these broken vows, the shadows of decline began to creep in, towards struggles far darker than failed marriages. By the late 1950s, the brilliance of Rita Hayworth's stardom began to dim. Roles that once defined her as Hollywood's ultimate goddess grew scarce. Younger faces filled the screens, and studios no longer fought for her presence. The woman once adored worldwide now felt the sting of rejection from the very system that had created her. But it was not only her career that faltered. Rita's health began to betray her. Her memory slipped, her speech faltered, and her once commanding presence softened into confusion. To the outside world, it looked like the toll of hard living. Rumours of alcoholism and instability swirled in gossip columns. In truth, she was facing the cruel onset of Alzheimer's disease, though the diagnosis would not come until much later. Photographs captured the stark contrast, the radiant siren of Gilda beside the fragile woman struggling to remember her lines. Friends whispered their concern, reporters sharpened their pens. Rita withdrew more and more from the spotlight, retreating into shadows of her former self. And yet, the cruelest moment still lay ahead, the point where even Rita Hayworth, the love goddess, would forget the very life that once belonged to her. There came a moment when the applause, the diamonds, the lovers, and even the films themselves faded into silence. In her final years, Rita Hayworth no longer recognized the world that once adored her. Alzheimer's stole not only her memory, but also her identity, piece by painful piece. Friends would sit by her side, reminding her of Gilda, of the dazzling gown, of the smile that made men dream. Rita would look back at them with vacant eyes, unable to connect the legend on screen with the woman she had become. Her daughter, Yasmin Aga Khan, became her anchor, nursing her through the confusion, shielding her from the merciless gaze of tabloids. But nothing could stop the steady erosion of a mind once alive with passion and wit. Each forgotten word was a theft, each lost memory a quiet tragedy. It was the cruelest irony. The love goddess, once worshipped by millions, spent her last days in isolation, unaware of the empire she had built. Fame can fill theatres, but it cannot hold your hand when the lights go out. And in 1987, at just 68, Rita Hayworth's story came to its final curtain call. Do you still remember the first time you saw Rita Hayworth smile in Gilda? That image, her hair tossed back, her eyes lit with fire, remains etched in cinema's memory. Though her final years were shrouded in illness, Rita's legacy did not vanish with her. Instead, it found new meaning. After her death in 1987, her daughter Yasmin Aga Khan transformed personal grief into a mission. She became one of the leading voices in the fight against Alzheimer's, turning Rita's story into a beacon for awareness and research. Today, the Rita Hayworth galas held in her honor have raised millions of dollars to combat the disease. The woman once known for beauty and allure became, in memory, a symbol of resilience and change. Culturally, Rita's influence lingers. Her films, from CoverGirl to Gilda, are screened for new generations who continue to marvel at her presence. Her pin-up posters remain icons of World War II history. And critics today see beyond the love goddess label, recognizing her as an actress who fought against the cages of typecasting. Her story still moves us, not just as a Hollywood tale, but as a reminder of how fleeting glory can be and how legacy endures. Rita Hayworth's life is a paradox written in light and shadow. She was Hollywood's love goddess, crowned by fame and adored by millions, yet her final years were marked by silence, confusion, and solitude. Her story reminds us that beauty and success cannot shield anyone from life's cruelties. Even the brightest star can fade, but the glow they leave behind continues to guide us. What makes Rita unforgettable is not only the image of glamour she embodied, but the courage of her journey. She fought to be seen beyond the satin gowns, beyond the headlines, beyond the myths. And though illness stripped her memories, it could not erase the indelible mark she left on cinema and on the fight against Alzheimer's. Perhaps the lesson is simple but profound. Behind every icon lies a fragile human being, yearning for love, respect, and dignity. Rita Hayworth's story is a mirror, asking us to reflect on what truly endures when the spotlight fades. If this story touched you, share it so Rita will never be forgotten. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories, because every legend carries a truth waiting to be remembered.